Good evening and welcome to the Private Property Podcast, where we provide valuable knowledge and information on anything and everything property related. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just looking for some expert advice, we have got you covered. Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. for tips, insights, and expert advice on burning topics related to property. This podcast is brought to you by Private Property. Remember, you can find your new home on privateproperty.co.za. Welcome to the Private Property Podcast. On today's show, we'll be unpacking some of the property trends that you can expect to see in 2023. As always, we bring you experts to help us unpack all of these interesting things. Joining me in studio today is my favorite, an old friend, the Managing Director of Soundrock Integrated Property Solutions, Mr. Mark Berman. But before we get to him, and before we dive into the conversation, remember to comment below, share your thoughts on today's show. You can join the conversation by using the hashtag find your new home on privateproperty.co.za and hashtag the Private Property Podcast on all social media. We'll be keeping an eye out for your posts, and we may even feature some of them on this show tonight, because this is the Private Property Podcast, where we provide you with valuable information on anything property related. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Hey, so good to be back.
How are you?
Well, I made it through the new year, so that's a good start, right?
Yeah, 2023, new year, new me.
Unbelievable, hey?
Is it a new you?
It's a new me, totally, as you can, yeah, that's the same me, but just different year.
I love your shirt. You're dressing better in 2023.
You like it, eh?
Yeah.
I think I need to get myself my own stylist, but I think for right now, I'm just doing the job myself.
I think you're doing a great job. Don't you even worry about it. Thanks for coming.
All good.
Tell me about the property trends forecasted for 2023. Since it's you know everything and anything.
So the trends, I was thinking about this before I actually got here.
Yeah, because you knew I was going to ask you this question.
I just had that idea. I don't know why. It was like almost like an epiphany.
Yeah.
And then I decided that the trends are what's going on in people's minds. We've got so many weird things happening, like stage 6 load shedding, which is like continuous and everybody's talking about it. And there's not one person that I've ever spoken to in the last 3 weeks that isn't complaining about melted ice cream, defrosted bacon.
Yeah.
So, these kind of things affect the whole industry directly or indirectly. They're on people's minds all the time. So a lot of people have got opinions. Everybody's got their thing of, I think this is going to happen. I think that's going to happen. But it can change on the flip of a coin. It really can, and we've got interest rate talks and things talking about that. So I'm sure we're going to get into that, but, I think that, me, I'm always the glass half full kind of person. And I think that no matter what happens, in adversity always breeds opportunity and comes opportunity. Guys that are out there that are in the face, at the coal face doing things, I think they're really going to take advantage of the situation, work their magic, and make amazing things happen this year. That's what I believe.
Mark, you've said so much, but you haven't actually told me anything.
That's usual.
I asked you what the trends are. You said, let me tell you about trends, but you didn't tell me what the trends were. Yeah. So I'm going to shoot some words at you, and then you tell me what you think is going to happen. Okay.
Goodie.
According to Business Tech, actually, these are some of the property trends to look out for in 2023. So you're going to unpack. I'm going to say it's like a word association game.
I can do this.
You and me.
Yeah.
We're going to do this.
We're good. We're in sync.
Semigration, reverse semigration.
Okay. This is actually quite a big topic. If you have a look at the people that are moving down to Cape Town or the coast anywhere, Mossel Bay, going.
Yeah. Which is what semigration is, right?
That's what semigration is. But it's kind of like, I'm moving down there, but I'm still working, and I'm going to come back to Joburg, Pretoria, wherever it is.
When things are normal again.
Yeah, the definition of normal.
Yeah.
And the guys are going down, but it's all very well to think you can work remotely. It's not that easy. Especially, Zoom and everything else that was going around during the pandemic. That association, being with people, talking to people, being out in society, and etc., is something that we're gregarious people. We like to be in groups and see people. So moving out and retiring out to the edge of the continent doesn't work that easily. And of course, it also raises your costs. Remember, you've just bought down there. You also still need a place up here, going up and down. So people are moving, but I think we are going to see a trend of people wanting to come back. Things are never as bad as they always seem. So, the coast is beautiful, but the wind blows and it rains, and, there's pros and cons to everything, I guess.
Yeah, and the middle of nowhere is the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely. And when the internet goes down, what backup have you got? I mean, the other night, one of the big providers, I'm not going to mention names, went down. And so we had no electricity. There was a burst pipe on the road, so there was no water, and we had no internet. And of course, with all the mobile providers going down with no data, etc., during load shedding, it was the perfect storm.
I think, speaking of that perfect storm, which I think a number of us have experienced, something else I read recently that made my blood boil is that with all of this remote working that everyone is doing, a lot of sort of international companies are discounting South Africans now because their South African employees are going to go, this is, a great opportunity. I really want to do the work. I can do the work for you. And then the next day they're going to go, I can't deliver because I've got load shedding back home. It sort of leaves one completely vulnerable as well, because you've got no security, right? You can't call anyone for help. You're completely in the dark. You're a sitting duck, actually.
And so is everything. Every asset that's around is a sitting duck. I saw a picture the other day at the Marlborough interchange where they'd cut the traffic lights off in the middle of the night and stolen the cables out of it because there's no electricity. So people stoop to whatever thing there is.
What are you going to do with those cables? There's no power anyway.
Ish.
Anyway, isn't yoga. We're straying away from the point.
Yes, as always.
Trends.
Let's
get back to it.
Back to trends.
So reverse semigration, it's a thing. People left, now they're coming back.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's like people who've left the country and gone, the country's so bad.
Pack for Perth.
Yeah, pack for Perth. Get to Perth, realize that isn't Hawaii.
Yeah.
And the beaches aren't the way they thought it was.
Yeah.
So the grass is always greener on the other side because the cows make doo-doos more on the other side. You know what I mean?
Sectional titles, hot property, yes or no?
So sectional title will always be hot property. Basically, the reason for that is that it also lends itself for people to rent it out if they don't want to be in it anymore. Okay, so that you grow, it's your first home, you move into the next one, etc. And the big move in terms of sectional title is that the major developments happening in the country at the moment, where you get the most buyers, the most users, are in sectional title developments. There's a big differential between normal residential development, which is building houses and clusters and all that kind of stuff, because you can only build so many at a time.
Yeah.
Whereas you build a sectional title development, you're going to build 400 units over 18 months or whatever it is. So there's this perception that the residential market in terms of houses is slowing down. Well, if you're putting in one development 400 units,
there's nothing slow about that.
You know what I'm saying? So you're putting in units of 400, but you're only in the same amount of time, you can only build 70 houses. Let's just say, for instance, you got to call a spade a spade. You got to there's a differential. So there's so many opinions out there about this is moving this way and that's moving that way, and the normal home slowing down, the construction. You're just building so many more sectional title developments than ever been built in this country before.
Is that a good thing?
I think it's brilliant.
Because we're housing more people.
We're housing more people. I mean, there will always be a housing shortage, not only in this country, but everywhere in the world, because, we are human and we like babies. So we want to grow. You're going to have this housing shortage. People have to live somewhere. You've got to put people into spaces, and you want to put them into spaces where there's a lifestyle. So you take sectional title development. Most big sectional title developments are a whole lifestyle now.
Sustainability, going green. What are we seeing in 2023?
I'm hoping a lot.
Green homes, green houses, built with dung and mud. Mark, what are we looking at?
So there's an interesting thing from my viewpoint about what's happened in South Africa as opposed to other countries.
Tell me.
Other countries give people incentives to go green, like solar. We've got our incentive, built-in incentive in South Africa called Eskom. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody loses their breath when you mention that word. Because we're forced to go green in a way, solar-wise, because we don't have power. So people have automatically got that in mind, but there's so many other aspects to going green. And we should capitalize on that as we're going along, especially in development, the reusing of stormwater, rainwater coming off and using that.
Grey water to water the massive lawns, just these rolling
Exactly.
lawns.
Yeah, and they are. In some of our suburbs, you're talking about, I don't know, nearly a hectare of land that needs to be watered, you know. So for me, there's got to be a further push in going green, not from a kind of like the green, I'm a tree hugger kind of person thing, but I think it's just as human beings, you know, let's build ourselves a planet where we like to live and we can thrive. And there's so many amazing building methods and water reusing and electrical appliances that
bricks made of
soil
that interlock with one another. Then you don't need the cement on the one level. It's like, hey, people are doing hectic things.
They're amazing things that you can
And then
do.
they keep the house cool. Let me tell you, Mark, about these bricks, hydroform, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And they keep the house warm in the winter and then cool in the summer. And then they're very heavy. And then they interlock so you don't have to stick them together with anything. And it's like it's a thing.
There's so many different methods. You know, they're building methods that are now seen as green building methods that have been around for 300-400 years that are becoming
millennia.
Fashionable.
Millennia. Our grandmothers were busy making these clay blocks to build houses.
Yeah. You've got like ram soil kind of things where they build walls in layers. They do it in like, I don't know, 200 centimeter, 20 centimeter, 200 millimeter.
Hello.
Stacks. It's like so cool.
The cavemen called.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All you got to go in there is with your Koki on the wall. It's not graffiti anymore. It's cave drawings.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole thing.
This will go down in the history book.
Yes. The most amazing thing about all of this is from a sustainability point of view, and I know the paint manufacturers are going to hate me, but when you're doing off-shutter concrete, you don't paint it. Okay. When you do the rammed earth scenario, you don't have to paint that either. And you can do it multicolor. It's like that forever. It's waterproof. It is soundproof. It is insulation. It heats up during the day and lets that
fireproof.
It's like
just
amazing stuff. So I'm just
bulletproof.
hoping. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I'm just hoping that what people do is they see the value of it for themselves as people, so that they're living a healthier lifestyle. So they're not breathing in the leads and stuff like that from whatever's coming out of the walls that they're currently living in, and that they're living better and healthier lives. That's really where I see this going. And I'm hoping that every person out there just goes, they don't just go, oh, we're just going to do solar because of our power situation, but we go, hang on, how can we add that into whatever we're doing? You know, our water quality is not the same as it was before, as much as the municipalities would like to say it. So when we're looking at doing developments now, what are we doing? We're looking at saying, okay, cool, we're going to put in filters, water filters and things like that come off the mains, so that you're going to get
a better quality of water.
Well, you're basically bottling your own water.
Yeah, spring water in my own home.
Exactly.
Get a borehole, Mark. Do you have one?
Me?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. I've got municipality borehole.
I thought you were the kind of guy who would have a borehole.
I would, hey, yeah. Don't. Sorry.
Your fancy shirt is very misleading.
It doesn't say borehole on it.
Is there a high demand for estate life in 2023?
I think there's a high demand for that worldwide, not only in South Africa. People like that community living. They like the central, as I spoke to you about, central amenities, swimming pools, interaction, restaurants, all that kind of stuff.
Tennis court, clubhouse.
You know, you always see those movies
golf
with the guys
course.
Wearing white and walking in downtown tennis balls. I don't think people play that much tennis in South Africa, but they definitely swim. The golf course thing is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a very important thing that is going to continue. And I love that kind of living. Safety is a big factor, obviously, but the lifestyle is so good. You know, it reminds me of like growing up when we were like kids, and you would be able to play in the streets and go to the park and do whatever. So I think every parent wants their kid to be able to do that. So I think that's yet to stay.
It kind of feels like taking something that was freely available for everyone and then sort of like capitalizing on it and making it this like desirable, exclusive thing that you can only have in like if you live here and over there. But it's like, I remember playing in the street with my friends and I didn't need to have 1,000 security guards at the gate in front giving me exit and entry codes to get into my road.
But also you had the fact that in those days, people on the roads respected the kids and everybody else playing on the roads.
Absolutely.
Today they aim for you. I've noticed that if so, I mean, those kind of things, it is a reversion back to what was freely available before. But with mass urbanization like we've had over the last number of years, it was bound to happen. You can't expect traffic to all of a sudden dissipate because we want to, we've got gated communities where they've tried to do that, and some of them have worked really well. So it's just an extension of that, building kind of lifestyle communities like that.
It's kind of sad.
It is in a way.
It's sad, but it's good. It's like, oh, great. At least, there's some semblance of this left behind at a very, premium fee.
So, but I mean, you had those communal things.
Yeah.
Now, with the way that things have worked, those people I don't believe they're as popular as they were before. So you're bringing that into the community style living where everybody has the availability who's living in there. And it's really cool. And some of these places, they've even got clinics and, depending on the size of them, it's like you don't have to get, as a resident, you don't have to leave for anything.
Yeah, I like those ones, especially for like elderly people. I don't want to sound ageist. Where you've got like the clinic and the doctors and then the church is there as well for your little Sunday service. And then there's like a library for all of your recreational needs. And it's like, this is great. My 90-year-old mom, my mom's not 90 yet, but I hope she gets to 90. Yeah. And when she does, she won't be living with me, but hopefully at one of these lovely places that has the clinic and the library and all of those things.
I'm very involved with a group that's actually developing these things, and they're developing it to the point where they are changing just a slight genre change in terms of mature lifestyle living. You don't call it old people.
Sorry.
You call it mature lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because, I'm almost mature.
Yeah.
One day when I grow up, I'll be mature.
I give you another 30.
So anyway, the thing is about living that space forever. I think that when people get old, and I've got an 84-year-old mom who's in frail care, and you don't want people to move around and they get nervous. You can't put people into a box and into a ward and into this kind of, they don't like that.
It's inhumane as well.
I don't like it.
Last thing, going micro.
Going micro internationally, big deal. In South Africa, a no-brainer.
Tiny houses.
Micro, so small, 16 square meter units happening all over this country in urban areas, because people are still living in their houses and they want to work in a place and leave. So they're there for short periods of time and then they leave and they go. This is nothing new in South Africa. It's been migratory workers forever, but now it's just more formalized, if you want to call it that. And you've got guys that now they rent a space, they pay, I don't know, in some urban areas, a lot of money. In some urban, more social type of housing, 4,500 Rand a month or 3,500 Rand a month. And they've got this little 16 square meter room. That's all they need. They're quite happy to deal with that because at home, they have a home, which is a 4-bedroom house or whatever else it is, and they commute. And that's what the big deal is. They're not prepared to bring the family and live in the city. They would rather live and work like close by each other and move from there.
Got you. Sorry, this is the last one now.
You're allowed to ask me anything.
Multi-generational living. I spoke to someone about this and I was just like, it sounds like such an awful idea, because this is why my mother's going to go to one of those because...
Exactly. Because you didn't put enough salt in the stew and you didn't... That thing, yeah. Because moms and mom-in-laws and daughter-in-laws and son-in... Hey, I can see the nuclear fallout. Forget about anything, yeah.
It's just...
So there was... It's a cultural thing. It's really a cultural thing. And it's been broken down this is from my opinion, because of the fact that looking after one's parents in a home when they need 24-hour nursing, etc.,
And care, yeah.
it's very difficult. And it also is, and it's like, it's not a social thing. You know, you want to be around your friends. When you get old, you want to be able to speak to people about, you've got similar realities. You remember the war, you know, when I was in the war.
Oh, my knee hurts today, even my ankle.
Exactly. So the impact for a family unit
I'm
is
laughing
so
because
difficult.
I'm in my 30s and my knees and my ankles hurt right now.
So I've got this great home that you can go to. They've got wheelchairs and everything. No, that's great. They'll look after you, I promise you, Sibs.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a slowdown in that. I can't see that expanding. I know in the communities that are very big on that kind of living, it's now starting to dissipate. The guys are going, hang on a second. We actually it's not only an afford thing, but it's time and lifestyle. And this poor person's locked in a room and can't go out. And the amount of, you know, if you want to take somebody who's a mature person and take them shopping, it's an expedition. It's not just put them in the car and let's go.
It's like taking a baby. Like you'll get out of the house 25 minutes later than you thought you were going to.
And if anybody had to do the exercise and actually work out how much it costs, it's cheaper to put somebody into one of these lifestyle environments because they will be looked after correctly.
With their age mates.
And that's where people want to be.
Yeah. Mark, we're going to...
Yeah.
You and me.
But,
yeah.
We can talk.
Yeah. But we have to leave it. Come back.
I will.
Happy 2023. It's going to be great. We're going to talk to you again. That is all I have. That's it for tonight's episode of the Private Property Podcast. It's been great. See you for the next one. Sharp.